What is going on, traders? I gotta make this video quick because it's been storming here all day. My phone's been blowing up with Amber Alerts, and there's a tornado warning. There's a lot going on today. It's pretty crazy. So I'm gonna try to make this quick, get you guys up out of here, and get myself up out of here. But before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So today was pretty interesting. I told you guys in the last video that I do think the market is going to gap down today, and we will see some type of relief bounce early this week. And it looks like we're starting to see the relief bounce come to fruition. What do I mean by that? Now, we're looking at the daily time frame on the SPY right now, and this arrow is pointing at an inverted hammer pattern, which is a very bullish pattern. I know you guys, if you've been here for a while, you've seen this pattern, me point this pattern out before, and most of the time it comes out into play, and sometimes it doesn't. And if you, for you to those you who are new to the channel, let's look at what a bullish hammer pattern or inverted hammer pattern looks like. So this is exactly what it looks like. When we go to another picture as well, and this is how it would usually play out when we are talking about this pattern. And right now, when we're looking at the SPY after hours, SPY closed at 517. Currently, after hours is gapping up to 522. It is after hours, so take it with a grain of salt, and it's pretty early in the day still, or early in the afternoon still. So take it with a grain of salt. Triple Qs is gapped up to like 439, I would say. So pretty crazy gap up right now. We'll see if it holds in the morning, but this is a very bullish pattern, so it is a good sign that we could see more upside. We go to the weekly time frame. Another inverted hammer pattern is forming. Now, granted, it's only Mondays and the week has just started, so again, take this with a grain of salt. But the daily time frame does look very good. We go down to the 4-hour time frame. Things are still looking good. We're creating consolidation here. We're creating a structure here. So there is possibility for more upside. So the next question is, how far can we go? And I've mentioned this before that if we do bounce, I am looking at a move to 540 on the SPY. Now, let's actually mark that out and see how that looks. And if we mark that out and see how that looks, we'll be pretty much filling this gap first at around 529. After that, you're looking at a move above 530, and then you can see a move towards 532, 531, and then our psych level will be 535. After we break above 535, I think it's safe to say that we're easily heading to 540. Now, in previous videos, I said 540 was one of my targets to add puts in, but the highest we can go and potentially can go is about 550 retest, 548, 550, somewhere around this range where the supply and demand zone is before we see another breakdown across the market. So overall, I'm still pretty bearish right now. I'm not too bullish. I am bullish short term, I would say, but overall, pretty bearish. I still think we have more downside, but things so far do look like it's pointing towards a relief bounce. Things do look good as far as the SPY goes if we are assuming that this is an inverted hammer pattern. And I tell you guys all the time, if it looks like the pattern, assume that it is the pattern until proven otherwise. We look at the triple Qs. Triple Qs right now after hours is at 440. It closed at 435, so major gap up. But triple Qs are showing the same exact thing, inverted hammer pattern. Once again, let's take a look at how the pattern looks. There you go, bullish hammer pattern. Looks exactly the same. Looks exactly like an inverted hammer pattern when you are talking about it. Now, this is a huge fat hammer pattern, but regardless, it's still the same. It still looks the same. So we're going to assume that it is until proven otherwise. How far can the triple Qs go if we do get this relief bounce? Well, I would say that we can head towards 457, 460 range on the triple Qs. I told you guys in other videos that I would like to see the triple Qs get above 440, and then after that we could see a move to 445, and after that we're looking at a move. I honestly think once triple Qs gets above 450, then that's an easy move to 460. All right, it's pretty illiquid up to that point, and we do have two gaps to fill up to this point, so I'm not counting on major downside from here. I do think we are going to get that bounce, and right now the market is pretty much proving me right. Now this can all change in the morning. We don't really have news for this week, really. We have unemployment claims for one day, and that's about it. Thursday, I believe, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what we're looking forward to. And then maybe we have some Fed members speaking, but otherwise, it's just unemployment claims. So we don't have too much news to go off of this week. And usually, when historically, when the market doesn't have news for a week or a lot of news for the week, that week is usually bullish. So I will say that much. Now, again, like I said in the last video, guys, Any bullish momentum, any rally, bounce, relief we get, take it with a grain of salt, make your money and run. Simple as that. Make your money and run. Overall, I still think we are going to see a lot more downside. I think we're going to get one more drop. I don't know how drastic the drop is. I think this one might be more controlled and not so much of a huge elevator down. Probably be an elevator down, but not a crazy elevator down. And we could start seeing a move much lower. But we'll talk about that if we ever see that happen. For now, things look bullish, things look fine as far as the short term go, and that's what we're going to stick to. So targets for the triple Qs as far as the upside is about 460. Targets for the SPY, just a quick recap on the SPY. I'm looking at 540, highest 550 range, and we'll see what happens once we get from there. Inverted hammer pattern on both the daily time frames. Let's actually look at the weekly. I didn't get a chance to look at the weekly on the triple Qs. Yeah, so you have an inverted hammer pattern forming on the weekly as well. Now, if we continue to go higher, then this pattern will probably completely change because we are just starting the week and the week is nowhere near over. So we'll take this with a grain of salt, but it is something to pay attention to if we just so happen to somewhat head all the way up to 460 and then immediately sell off and form some huge wick. If that's the case, then we would be forming an inverted hammer pattern and we'll go from there. Now, let's look at the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is doing something pretty important here. It is moving above 18,150, which is a actually good sign right here. And we are getting above the supply and demand zone. So the NASDAQ did gap up into this range. It gapped up above the supply and demand zone as well. And right now we are above 18,100, 18,150. I told you guys that if we do get a relief bounce, dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it, that I do expect a move to 19K at most, at minimum 18,600, between 18,600 18,800. So again, take whatever bounce we get with a grain of salt, make your money, and I suggest you run. Now, in order, what would need to happen for me to change from being overall bearish right now? Well, one, we would have to get back into this pattern. Okay, that's my main goal. That would be my main goal, to get back into this pattern. What do I tell you guys about patterns? When we roll back into a pattern, that usually means we're going in that direction. I've said this when we're pretty much at the top up here, that if we roll back into this pattern, things are going to get bad and we're going to continue in that direction. And that's exactly what happened. The Q's pretty much gap down from up here and we roll back into this pattern. And as you guys can see, that is exactly what happened. We broke down completely. So um, we're going to stick to that idea. And I'm going to say if we do roll back into this pattern, I would like to see that around 19,600. Then I want to see us mount. So let's actually mark it out. I would like to see us mount in this pattern, create some type of base here, and then we could potentially go higher. So that's what I would like to see in order for me to be overall bullish again. But for now, I have to assume that any upside we do get is simply a retest, creating a lower high before we head much lower. Looking at the ES, same idea. There's nothing much to talk about here. Same idea as the NQ. We're just simply most likely looking at a retest. I will be looking at a move towards 5,500, and then we continue to see another breakdown and across the market. So I do think the relief bounce is in. I could be wrong. Maybe some black swan news comes in out the sky. We discussed what a black swan news event is. Recession, war, maybe another COVID crisis. We don't know. There's a lot going on. There's a lot lingering in the air. So this is why I'm saying take any bullish momentum with a grain of salt. And if you're going to do contracts, if you're going to trade anything, do dated contracts. Any calls that I am in, I plan on alerting a month or two out in the Discord and make them as cheap as possible. That way we are very, very safe in our play. So I do think the market is going to if the market is going to fully recover sometime in September, if not August, or if not now. I do think the market is going to start recovering sometime in September, but I do think we're going to see one more drop before then. If anything changes, you guys will be the first to know. Well, outside of my Discord, you guys will be the first to know, and we'll go from there. But right now, everything looks pretty fine as far as a relief bounce. We're getting above major levels on the NQ. We're gapping up after hours. That's a good sign. Things are looking great as far as after hours and potential for a relief bounce heading into at least tomorrow. Now, let's talk about some stocks here. So first off, let's talk about Meta. So congratulations to everyone who traded Meta in the Discord. I told you guys in the last video that we did 450 puts in a Discord. We did a lot of things. We took so many puts prior to this huge drop that came in. Coin puts I told you guys about. I kept saying 209. We did 209 puts in the last video. I do apologize about that. I don't know where I was getting 209 from. I meant 190. We did 190, 180 puts, and then we did 170 puts. So we were deep in coin. Okay, we were very deep in our bag as far as coin goes. So this guy he made about $1,300 off coin puts. I told you guys about our 510 puts. I told you guys SPY was going to continue to drop. SPY went as low as about 512 after hours, but it's not reflecting on the charts, but it did go that low. You don't have to believe me. Regardless, it doesn't matter. We made money off of it in the Discord. He made about 1,400 off the SPY puts. I believe this is GE. We did GE 150 puts. Here it is. So GE 150 puts, he made about $400 off of it. I'm assuming he made money off both SPY puts and GE puts because he was telling me that he was in those plays earlier. So congratulations to these guys. And then me myself, um, I made a decent amount of money as well, or a decent amount of profit as well. GE puts made about 700 off of those. Coin puts, the 190 puts I kept telling you guys about, made 5K off of those. These were only two contracts, by the way. Like I only entered two contracts that were equal to $400 altogether. So I went in with $400 and I came out with 5K. So yeah, that's our coin 190 puts. What else? Meta puts, the 450 puts, only did four contracts that were equal to like $700. Went in with $700, came out with $4,000. So I didn't even do a lot of contracts, and I've been telling my Discord members not to do a lot of contracts with this current market. And I mean, the bag is speaking for itself. So if you want access to these plays, join the Discord. Link is in the description below. But regardless, let's talk about Meta and how far it can go. So I do think that Meta can go lower. Bef- well, not before the bounce, but after the bounce, I do think Meta can go lower. Now, if it goes lower before the bounce, then that's fine as well. Either way, I'm not exactly in Meta, so I don't necessarily care where it goes from here. But if anything, I would assume that Meta will want to retest 500 before we see that next move down. So a retest of 500, and my price target for Meta still remains the same, 420. We saw like 430, somewhere in the 430s after hours or pre-market, when we were witnessing that whole drop across the market. So we got pretty close, but I still think Meta is not quite done yet. Until we get back into this range here, I would say above 510. Not well, yeah, above 510, then I would be more comfortable in saying Meta could be switching to being bullish. But that's pretty much what I have. I think a retest of 500 is on the table for Meta before we see that next move down across the market and Meta starts heading towards 420. Let's talk about Bitcoin real quick and then we'll talk about coin. So I mentioned this in the Discord that I think Bitcoin is going to recover from here. This is the daily time frame. We go to the weekly time frame actually, and as you guys can see, I don't know if you guys can see these wicks. They're pretty hard to see on YouTube, but right here we bounced. We wicked off here. We wicked here, and then we did a stop loss search here. It looks like a stop hunt here at around 50K, and then we immediately start to reject, and now we are back in this range, rejecting this trend as well. So I do think Bitcoin is going to recover from here. Um, I do think that Bitcoin is going to head back to 60K. Highest I'm looking at is about 65K, which would not 65K, 62K before we see some type of move back down. Again, if Bitcoin, we did visit our 52K target. I told you guys about that target. I'm sure people thought I was crazy for saying that target, but we made it. We went to 50K. And I still think Bitcoin can go potentially lower. As you guys can see, we have us a potential, okay, potential head and shoulders pattern here. We got our shoulder here, head here, and if we do just so happen to reject off this 62K area right around here, then we could be forming another shoulder, therefore giving us our head and shoulders pattern. And then our neckline will be actually around 50K. So if we break above below 50K, then I do think Bitcoin is going to start heading towards that 44, 42K target that I've been talking about in the past, but I haven't really went into detail with. So we'll see after this bounce here or potential rejection here. And then at that point, if this does happen, please believe that I am jumping back into coin puts. Speaking of coin, I've already showed you guys our coin play and just how well it looked and how good it looked and how much we made off of it in the Discord. So again, join the Discord, man. I mean, it's hard for me to miss out here. But regardless, um, I do think coin is going to retest the 230s range, 223, 230s range. First target I'm looking at is about 220, 213, and then after that, I'm looking at a move to 223, and then after that, if we do continue to head higher, then I'm looking at a move as high as potentially 230 before we reject, and then we head much lower on coin. It's also important to note that coin does have a lot of gaps down here, and I'm not saying all these gaps have to be filled. They can stay there forever. That's how gaps work sometimes. But it is important to note that we do have a lot of these gaps. I personally think, I've said this before, that I think coin is very overvalued and it does not deserve to be in the 200s price range. That's just me. Okay. They need to show me different, but otherwise, I just think coin is very overvalued and I think it should be way lower than what it currently is. But that's just me. So price target still remains the same for coin. I do think coin is going to head towards 130. Did it head there already? No, it got to 160 and then rejected, and that's pretty much we took profit around 160, 170 range. So yeah, again, congratulations to Discord members who followed in on that play. But I do still think coin has more room to go after this relief bounce, and then we can head to possibly 130 target. Definitely will be looking to get puts at around this range, so I will be on the lookout for that if you are in a Discord, and we'll see what happens from there. Let's talk about Apple. So I'm really upset that I told you guys in the last video that my price target on Apple was about 203, 200. Unfortunately, it hit that target in after hours and pre-market. It like gapped from 219 all the way down to 203, and I was devastated I didn't get into that because I pretty much called it spot on. But Apple is a good buying opportunity at 197. I mentioned this in the Discord, and the reason being is that we go to our weekly time frame and we have a double bottom, right? And the double bottom was already confirmed. We already broke the neckline. I've talked about this in our 5 stocks to buy video and just how much I was hyping this play up, and we went absolutely to the moon with this play. But yeah, so we have our bottom here on the weekly, bottom here, and then our neckline was at 197. And Apple hit 197 like exactly dead on and bounced from there pre-market, and I was really upset about that because I didn't get into the 197 play, but I did get in at 203, and I alerted Discord members to take calls at 203. So Apple looks really, really good as far as potentially more upside. Clean bounce off this neckline. You couldn't ask for a better opportunity to get in on calls or even buy shares if you wanted to on Apple. So yeah, really like this play. I do think Apple, if Apple does drop for whatever reason, it can revisit 197. Lowest I'm looking at is about 192 range. I think that's an excellent buying opportunity as still, because that would be right in this neckline area. But as far as targets go, I do think Apple can head towards 220, and I do think somewhere in September or near the end of the year that Apple will be above 250s. Um, and that's pretty much all I have as far as Apple. I think Apple has one more move in it left. If anything, if the market does decide to just remain bullish and continue higher, Apple could start heading towards this gap fill at around the 230s range. I have a price target on Apple to 236. 236 highest I'm looking at is about 250. So yeah, I do think that's going to happen within the next month or two. So you just got to have some patience. I think Apple looks great from here. I mean, really wish the market hates when you get perfect entries. That's one thing for sure. It's gonna make its move pre-market and then leave you in the dust. So really really upset that I didn't get into that 197 position, but it is what it is. You can't catch them all. But that's what I have for Apple. Amazon looks amazing. Amazon looks absolutely amazing here. Um, so it's at 162.27 after hours. That's what it was trying to break all day. So hopefully it holds until morning. But Amazon looks amazing. Weekly supply and demand zone. We bounced off the weekly supply and demand zone. We're bouncing off this trend as well. We bounced here. We bounced here. I didn't mark this, but we bounced here as well. And currently we are bouncing here as well. Amazon looks great. I don't have much of anything to say about it. I think this is a recession-proof stock as well. So if you are the type of person to get into investing long term and want a stock that is a good investment for a recession, I think Amazon is one of those stocks. I also told you guys that 150 was a beautiful, beautiful buying opportunity. Unfortunately, didn't catch that 150 as well. The market just hates when you get perfect entries. But I told you guys if Amazon gets to 150, this I think this was the last video I actually mentioned this. 150 between 150 155, excellent excellent buying opportunity. And I still stand by that. So I do think Amazon is going to head towards 180. Uh, by the end of the year, I do think Amazon is going to be above 200. This thing is undervalued. I don't. This thing is very undervalued in my opinion. I think Amazon should be higher. 200s between 200s and 300s is where I think Amazon should be, and I think it's going to absolutely crush its next earnings report, which is in October, of course. So yeah, we got some time on Amazon, but regardless, Amazon looks great from this point on. I think it's going to head higher. First target will be 180. After that, I'm looking at a move to 190, which is right here where these guys are. Sorry, let me zoom in. Right here where these guys are, and then we can revisit 200 all over again. Options chain is showing a lot of calls for 210. I mean, not a calls, but a lot of bullish exposure towards that 210 target. So that is something to talk about, but I'm not counting on it right now. If it happens, that would be great. Right now, we are in 200 calls for September 20th on Amazon. So, really like this play. Really love this play. We're also, I forgot to mention that we are also in, what are we in on Apple? What are we in on Apple? I can't remember. We are in 230. Yeah, we're in 230 calls for Apple. Did I alert it? Okay, 235 calls for September 20th on Apple. I let everybody know that that is a risky play, but regardless, I really like Apple off the bounce off that double bottom neckline, and we'll go from there. But right now, we're on a nice, very, very nice winning streak, guys. As you guys can see, we made profit off the Meta puts. I've been talking about Meta for the past 2, 3 videos. GE puts as well. I showed you guys the profit off that. Coin puts, SPY puts. I didn't get to screenshot that, but you guys saw someone in the chat say they made about 1K off that, 1,400 off of that play. SPY puts, 510 SPY puts. Um, and yeah, I mean, hardly lose, rarely lose. Here's the Tesla puts I told you guys about. The 220 puts made 1,700 off of it. Um, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys. Join the Discord, man. It's going to get crazy. Okay, it's going to get crazy. That's all I can say about it. So, really, really like these plays. I really like the potential of a relief bounce right now. Let's talk about AMD real quick. So AMD is bouncing off this weekly trend. I didn't actually mark the bounces, but hopefully you guys can see. Bounce here, you bounced here, you bounced here, you bounced here, and you're currently rejecting this trend. You got a nice bullish candle off the trend. AMD is gapping up as well after hours. I do think AMD is going to revisit at least 150. It could revisit this gap all the way to 170s. I'm not counting on it, but it is possible. It's something to keep in mind and keep on the table. But for now, I'm looking at a target to a retest to 150, and then we'll see what happens from there. If you don't remember, earnings happened. AMD went all the way to 150 and rejected. So if it can get back above its earnings number, then I do think there's potential to start heading towards this gap fill on AMD. Netflix, I told you guys Netflix is going to head towards 600. I've been saying this for the past however many videos. I still have a price target of 580, but it looks like Netflix is going to follow the market and possibly head higher. So we'll go from there. But after this retest, I still have a price target of 580 as long as we stay below this channel, this rising wedge on Netflix. But that's really all I have for Netflix. I don't really have much to talk about on Netflix. It can revisit 630, and then after that, we'll have to see what happens from there. Tesla. Tesla, so Tesla's still in a weird spot. I'm not much of a fan of it, but if we are going to assume that it's going to follow the market, I will say that it can head as high as about 220. And after 220, we'll have to see what happens from there. There is potential for a drop. I don't necessarily have a target for Tesla right now. I mean, it hit all of my targets. I told you guys 213 it was going to head to. I said 207. I said the lowest it can head to 194, and it went all the way to like one. It picked all the way to 182. So I mean, I got nothing else for Tesla, guys. I mean, it hit all of my targets and beyond. So that's all I really have for Tesla. All right, Microsoft. So Microsoft looks like it wants to simply retest about 410, and then we'll see what happens from there. Let's actually do a visual of this. Sorry, I haven't been really doing visuals now that I think about it, but somewhere around here, probably retest and then maybe reject from there. I still think Microsoft can head to 380. The lowest it can possibly go is about 330. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind that you want to make sure everything I'm saying as far as these targets to the upside correlates with the market. So if the market is still bullish and we just and the stocks are bullish as well, it can potentially go higher than my target. So as long as, as long as you keep those things in mind, we can potentially go higher. Okay, we can. All right. I'm not saying the targets are the end all be all. And of course, I will always keep you guys up to date as well. But right now, these are the targets I'm looking at. These are the retest levels I'm looking at. And right now, I'm just looking at simply retest of the bottom of trends or supply and demand zones or patterns. Simple as that. So that's what I think about Microsoft. Last but not least, well, not last but not least, let's actually look at SOXL. So I told you guys, XOXL is a beautiful buying opportunity between 25 and 20. Now, I'm hoping that if we do get a drop, that XOXL actually revisits this weekly trend right here. We bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here, and then I'm hoping to get a bounce around 21, $20 range. I think that is an absolutely killer buying opportunity. $20 on XOXL, beautiful buying opportunity. So that's my opinion. Do what you want with that information. There is a gap down here too. I don't think it's been filled yet. Yeah, it hasn't been filled yet. But this weekly trend, we bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here. So I'm hoping for this move here once again. But I told you guys between 25, $20, SOXL is a beautiful buying opportunity long term. Do what you want with that information. Right now it's at $29 after the bounce off about 23.5. So yeah, you would have made a nice little bag off that. Nvidia, so Nvidia is breaking back to the upside and is getting back above 103, which is actually a very, very good sign, I will say. And yeah, so I don't have much for Nvidia because I haven't really been paying attention to Nvidia. I've been more so interested in the semiconductors ETFs, but Nvidia looks great. It does. If I was to give a target, I would say right here, potentially around 115, 120 is possible for Nvidia. I don't think it's going to get much higher than 120, at least prior to earnings. I mean, it could. I guess it would price in its earnings. That is possible. That is on the table. But for now, I'm only going to be focused on between 110, 115 target on Nvidia, and then we'll have to play it by sight, ear from there. Okay. But that's all I have. I got to get up out of here, guys. I made once again, I made this video a lot longer than I expected. Appreciate the support, guys. You guys have been killing it. You guys have been following through on some of my plays in the YouTube comments. So I do appreciate the trust from there. It's been a crazy journey so far. I didn't expect my channel to grow so fast. I'm getting like 100 subscribers a day, so I really, really appreciate the support. Website is link is in the description below. If you want text message alerts, you want my text message sent directly to your phone, and all my alerts sent directly to your phone on what plays I'm in. That way you don't have to go to a Discord app. It does cost like $10 more because it is through a third party, and I have to pay that third party. But regardless, that alert those alerts are in the website below. If you want the Discord alert and you want to just join the community, hang out, talk, we're not huge or anything, but we're hoping to grow. And if we don't, that's fine as well. I'm not thirsty for Discord money or anything like that. But I will say that if you want to join the community, it is cheaper, and yeah, you'll get all the plays there. But if you don't want to go through a Discord app and you just want the messages directly to your phone, by all means, join the website. If you subscribe to the website, let's actually look at the website. If you subscribe to the website, I'm not used to having a website. I'm still like baffled that I have my own website. It's pretty crazy. But here it is. If you subscribe to the website, you get a free ebook and then you get my newsletter every single Sunday. So yeah. So it's completely free. And then if you look to the top right, I don't know if this is going to show, but top right is going to say get SMS alerts, and then everything else from there is self-explanatory. But regardless, you guys don't have to do any of that. You don't have to pay for anything if you don't want to. I will continue to push out as much value as possible on the YouTube channel, and then we'll go from there. But until the next video, traders, I hope you guys really made a bag off this drop. If you didn't, don't worry, there's going to be plenty of other opportunities. But until the next video, traders, have a good one.